We good here? We good? All right. Um, Happy Wealth Wednesday. It just so happens that Wealth Wednesday falls on July 4th. So happy Independence Day. Today I'm going to talk about what to do when you don't know where you're going. What to do when you don't know what to do. What to do when you don't know where you're going. A lot of people, most people, what they do is when they don't know where they're going, they keep doing actions, they keep doing something, whether or not it's beneficial to them or not. So what most people do is they keep doing things. I'll give you an example. For school, a lot of people don't know what they want to do. They haven't evaluated where they want to go, and they just keep going to school, and they've never stopped and asked the question, why am I going to school? What do I want? So I'm going to show you what to do when you don't know where you're going. In a relationship, most people that are in relationships, that are in horrible relationships and horrible situations, they remain in that relationship and remain in that situation because they don't know where they want to go. They don't know what they want. They just remain in bad situations. So I'm going to show you what to do. So let me begin with the pun of the day, and also go over what Wealth Wednesday is. What's up, Ariana? So the pun of the day is, what's up, Jake? Hey, it's a birthday boy. Happy birthday, Jake. The pun of the day is there's a Mexican magician, and he was telling his audience, I'm gonna disappear in the count of 3. And so he said, uno, dos, and poof, he disappeared. He disappeared without a trace. All right, so the challenge with most people is that they keep doing actions, they keep doing the behavior in the situation that they're in, without evaluating, without stopping and evaluating where they want to go, where they're going, and what they want. So they remain in that situation. So it's incredibly important to appreciate something that I'm going to show you. But first, let me go over Wealth Wednesday. What is Wealth Wednesday? Wealth Wednesday is every Wednesday, which me and my organization celebrate, and you and I celebrate, which is you go out there and do a random act of kindness, a random act of kindness to a stranger that involves spending money. And what that does is it does a lot of positive things. It makes you feel good. It just feels good. The fastest way to happiness is helping other people without anything in return. It's the fastest way to happiness. If you were to ask me, if you were to pay me $1,000 to give you the advice of how do I feel good right away, and I would tell you just help other people, and that'll immediately make you feel good. And so the psychology of Wealth Wednesday is that when we impart money to help other people, it makes a switch in our brain that says the more money we make, the more money we can generate, the more productive we are as an individual, the more people we can help. Because the opposite is true for most people. For most people, the philosophy is the more money you make, the more evil you are, or the more bad things you can do. And so we want to switch that philosophy, and also all of the other benefits for that. For example, what you could do is you could buy some strangers some food, some donuts. You could pay somebody's meal at a drive-through behind you. You could buy somebody's coffee in the line behind you. And when they look around and they see, I have no friends here, and somebody just paid for my meal. And it could be somebody who was contemplating suicide, could be somebody negative, could be somebody really, really cynical. And then something that kind of positive thing happens to them, and then it turns them around. Maybe it switches their mind, and they in turn help other people. So just imagine the future where every Wealth Wednesday, a lot of us are going out there in our local communities and imparting random acts of kindness. It's going to be a wonderful, terrific thing. So today, the call to action is do a random act of kindness with a stranger, and that involves spending money. So here's the answer to the challenge. And the challenge is, what do you do when you don't know where you are going, where you're headed? What do you do when you don't know what you want? Maybe you're in you're going to school and you're just going to school just because it was a thing to do, not because it's something you want and you don't know what you want. You're just going to school acquiring more and more debt without stopping and evaluating. Or you're in a relationship and you're just in the relationship. There's no benefit to you. There's no benefit to the other person. Everybody's miserable. And you haven't stopped and evaluated what you want and where you want to go. And the only reason you're there in that situation is because it exists. All right? So never fail or always remember to appreciate the value of stopping and evaluating. And I'm going to show you the value of feelings and the value of logic. So in that instance, I want you to consider and appreciate the value of stopping what you're doing, and thinking logically and finding out where you want. Maybe take a break from it, and discovering what you want and where you want to go. Logically evaluate it, and then you can go back to it with there's something called I forgot what it was called, but imagine yourself or latitude. So imagine yourself flying out of your body and and flying up into the sky and flying up into the atmosphere, into the stratosphere, and looking down on yourself, and you're looking down on the world, on your neighborhood, on your state, and you're having a bigger view of your life. You're a bigger view of your situation, and it will give you a different perspective. And then when you come back down to your body, you come back down to your situation, you come back down to your relationship, come back down to your business, and then you have a different perspective, and you may or may not want to change and alter the direction you're going. So I want to give you the value. I want to give you the value of feelings and logic. So there's a value of going out there and doing what you want. Going out there, hey Uncle Jim, happy birthday. Happy Independence Day. All right, so there's a value with feelings and going out there and doing what makes you feel good without necessarily logically equivocating it, without necessarily logically evaluating it in the moment. For example, you're in a social gathering and you see somebody interesting and attractive and compelling, and instead of being in your head and evaluating the situation logically, by the way, if you evaluate it logically correctly, it'll tell you to go approach that person, start a conversation. But most people get stuck in their head. There's a value in doing what makes you feel good. It feels good to just go out there and do what'll make you feel good and just go interact with that person, and then logically equivocate it or logically evaluate it later on after the fact. There's a value in that. And there's also a value in logically equivocating, logically evaluating things before you do them. So just appreciate that those two exists, that you can be in your emotional state and go out there and do what makes you feel good without necessarily logically equivocating it, logically evaluating it, and then logically evaluate it later on after the fact. And then there's also value in stopping what you're doing and logically evaluating your situation, and then look at the pros and cons, look at the benefit to you, what you want to do, and if that situation or that interaction is on the road to where you want to go. Because if it's not, if it's actually on the opposite road of where you want to go, if it's a detrimental to you more than a benefit to you, especially in a relationship, then you can stop and go a different direction and try alternate routes and try alternate actions. All right, did that help? So the call to action today is stop and evaluate where you're going, evaluate your situation and find out, is it in alignment with where you're going? And also Wealth Wednesday, do a random act of kindness to some strangers and impart money in some way, shape, or form. Tip extra, buy somebody a coffee, buy somebody, a stranger, a meal, and let's spread the word. And I look forward to talking to you on Friday, Freedom Friday, and happy Independence Day to my American friends.